Hi, I'm Peter Maltese, and welcome to another segment of Pete's Corner. Today we're somewhere in the Laurel Mountains, and we're at a wildlife rehabilitation center. We're going to take a look at what to do with animals that are hurt, and to tell us a little bit more about it is Cindy Cook. Cindy, nice to meet you. All right, Cindy, it's all yours now. You tell me about this. How'd you ever get into this thing?
Okay, what we are is a wildlife rehabilitation center. We care for injured, orphaned, or displaced wild animals. Years ago, I've always been an animal lover, and we would run across the baby squirrel, the baby possum, a little critter such as that, and we would try to raise them ourselves because there was no resources available to us in this area.
In this area?
In Fayette County, Westmoreland area. We weren't very good at it. We had a very low success rate. Sometimes we did things wrong because we didn't know how to do it. A few years later, we discovered that there was a position as a wildlife rehabilitator, licensed by U.S. Fish and Wildlife and the Pennsylvania Game Commission. We researched the rehab community out east in the Philadelphia area, and there were several rehabbers out there compared to this part of the state. We decided that we would go for it. We knew there would be a lot of hours involved in it.
This is all volunteer. I mean, you don't get paid for this?
This is 100% volunteer, non-funded work.
This is non-funded? You don't get paid to do this, and you get no money?
We get no money from the state or the federal government.
Well, at one particular time, how many animals do you usually have here?
This spring we had, between the two centers, my partners is in Youngwood, we had 85 animals to care for, anywhere from infant 2-day-old baby squirrels to adult red-tailed hawks, depending on how they get in trouble.
No funding at all?
No funding whatsoever, except from the general public and the contributions that people would bring us an animal and know that we are non-funded, and they would gladly give us a donation, because it can take between $25 and $30 to raise one baby squirrel.
I'll be darned. All right, what do you have on the grounds now that people brought to you?
We have a screech owl that was hit by a car about 4 weeks ago that had a fractured humerus and is healing well and hopefully will be released shortly. We have a barred owl, which is considered an educational animal. He is non-releasable. A separate permit besides rehabilitation is the educational use permit, where we can use certain animals in programs that we do for schools or clubs or groups such as that.
Oh, so you go and speak at these
Yes, we do.
groups?
It's a very good way of our funding as well.
That's nice. And how do I, say I find an animal that's hurt, or fawn, or any kind of an animal, how do I get it to you?
The best way would be call the Pennsylvania Game Commission. They will ask you what county you are in, and then they will give you the rehabilitator nearest to you in that area.
Oh, so there's other rehabilitators besides you in this?
In Western Pennsylvania, yes. I'm the only one in Fayette, and there are 2 in Westmoreland County.
Oh, I see. So it's just a matter of calling the Fish Commission or the Game Commission?
The Game Commission, yes. But since we've been around for 4 years now, a lot of word of mouth has come about when people find something. Either their friend, their neighbor, relative says, oh, I know where you can take that creature.
For all you people out there who see or hear of anybody has an animal that's hurt and you want to help it, call this number and you will get in touch either with Cindy or her partner. And your partner's name is?
Beth Schoaf.
Beth Schoaf. And where's she at?
She's in Youngwood, Westmoreland County.
Westmoreland County. What does a person do that finds an animal that's hurt before you get it?
Okay, of course it's going to depend on the species of the animal. If it would be an injured adult squirrel, you must wear heavy gloves. If it would be an injured red-tailed hawk, you must protect yourself from the feet. What we like to tell people to do is get a coat, a jacket, or a blanket and throw it over the animal while you have the gloves on and put it into a cardboard box. Keep it warm, dark, and quiet, and do not attempt to feed it. Many times animals suffer great stress from being fed improper diet, especially young babies when they come into the center. So that's the best thing to do is warm, dark, and quiet, and do not attempt to feed it. And if you call us, we will get to you as soon as we can.
All right, that sounds interesting. Warm, dark, and quiet. So
yes.
that's a tip for you people to remember. And now, how do you get your information out to the people? I mean, how do you let them know where you're at and what to do with them?
Well, once someone brings us an animal, we must file reports to the Game Commission. And from their name and address, we have a mailing list, and they receive our quarterly publication called Words from the Wild. And in it, we will tell stories of different animals that we've had, give them wildlife tips, and just basically talk about different wildlife issues and the environment and how they themselves can help wildlife.
Oh, so if you want this newsletter,
yes,
that's what it is. If you want this newsletter, either write or call to the number featured on the screen.
Correct.
And Cindy will get back to you, and there's a moderate fee or a donation.
Yes, $10 a year would cover the printing and the mailing of it.
$10 a year is nothing. Come on, people, let's get down and help this woman out here. For $10 a year, you get newsletter, helpful hints about the organization, and we can do that. Cindy, I see that you have quite a few pictures here of different animals that you received. Just pick out a couple and tell us what it is.
Okay, one of the most common animals that we receive are the squirrels, because we do have 4 species. We have the gray squirrel, here's a little flying squirrel, the red squirrel, as well as the fox squirrels. Being that they nest so close to humans, many times the babies will fall out of the nest, and people will find them and bring them into the rehab center. We do receive also a lot of owls, usually young ones, sometimes adults hit by car. This is a young great horned owl. This is another young one. You can see he's doing a defensive posture, which was to show you that he's much larger than he actually is. Then we have the adult great horned owl. This is the dangerous bird that you want to be careful with.
Are they common to this area?
Great horned owls are very common. Yes, you don't see them because they sit very quiet and still during the day. If you were out at night, you would see them more often. And quite a few baby possums because we all know possums are roadkill victims a lot of times, and many times their babies are alive in the pouch after the mother has been killed.
Do you have to have a large area to keep all these animals? I mean, how much ground do you have?
Right here at this center, we have about 7 acres.
I noticed you have a pond out there, and you got some dog pens. There's some huskies or Siberian
Right,
huskies
those are our
out there?
pets, our Siberian
Those are your-
huskies. Yes, they're our pets. They survive well up here in the winter.
Right.
with us.
So after the birds or the animals are well, what do you do with them after they're well?
We take the adult birds of prey, the raptors, the owls, and the hawks, we take them back to the place that they were originally found. It's very important for them to know their territory. We know that that area is capable of supplying that animal with food since he has lived there, and there's a possibility that his mate may be there. So we always take them back where they came from if they cannot. If they cannot be released. Sometimes I release them here if they're young and they need hacked out. Hacking out is a process where you would release a juvenile great horned owl and supply him with food over a period of 4, 5, maybe even 6 months till he's capable of hunting on his own. We do make sure that all of the birds of prey are very well at hunting before we do release them, as well as making sure that the squirrels and the birds that we raise are very frightened of people. And sometimes that's hard because we are handling these animals on a daily basis when they need us to, and they can become habituated to people. So we strive very hard to make sure that the animals are wild when they are released so they do not seek humans for food or other things.
Well, then you don't handle dogs and cats.
No domestic animals.
Okay.
No, occasionally some domestic ducks because nobody else is there to care for them. We do take domestic ducks in on occasion.
All right, Cindy, I see you have one of your pets. Is that what you call them, your pets?
Well, he's not really a pet. He's just a long-term patient. This is a barred owl. He came to us, he was tangled in barbed wire, and his injuries deemed him unreleasable. So what we decided to do with him was use him as an educational animal. When we do our programs in the schools and clubs, we sometimes take live animals with us. He has a very nice pen that he lives in. He eats very well. And he does not like us, or he is not tame by any means. He tolerates us, and that is all. But we believe that sometimes taking live animals into the classroom, you can sort of have a greater impact on the kids.
I notice how you move your hand and his head stays still, but his body moves.
Yes, that's
it.
one thing that the owls do. And we always talk a lot about owls because we do like them, and they cannot turn their head a whole way around. They can only turn it 270 degrees.
That's pretty interesting. That's pretty neat, too. I guess the kids get a big kick out of bringing the life.
It's not often that they can see an owl, especially a barred owl, in its natural territory. So we think it is important for them to be able to see them.
Well, he sure is beautiful. I see his sharp claws also, huh?
Yes, he still has very large talons that can be dangerous if you don't handle him properly.
I make no bones about what's involved in being a wildlife volunteer. I mean, there's a whole lot of dirty work, hard work involved. It's not just kissing the baby bunnies. And I tell people that right up front because I don't want them to have any illusions about what's involved. And if they're not willing to at least give that end of it a try, they shouldn't even come in, and I shouldn't waste my time trying to train them.
Well, if they do want to volunteer, they call you?
Yes, they can call either one of us, or all of our literature has a tear-off stub that asks for folks who are willing to volunteer in various capacities, so they can contact us in a variety of ways. And what I normally do is bring a bunch of people in for an orientation session early in the spring before things get busy, so that they can at least start their training before all hell breaks loose, with baby animals.
How
Yeah,
long-
it's a lot of
How
cleaning
long does it
cages.
take to train a volunteer?
For somebody to be really good in all capacities, they need to be with me a whole season before they can cover the whole 9 yards. Because unfortunately, the new volunteers do start out doing the grunt work. That's just the way it is. They clean up crap. And then once they graduate from that, then they start to do some hands-on work with the
That's not the right word to use.
Feces. They clean up feces.
Yes, yeah.
But they think that they're going to hold a baby animal, and that's what they're going to
and
do.
nurse
But
it, and nurse it,
they're,
yeah,
they're
like
not.
they see.
In here we have a tundra swan. It's so cold today, her little swimming pond is freezing.
She's so small.
She was started by kayakers in the lower Ohio Powell Rapids about a month ago, and they told me about her, and I said, well, you know, her flock is gone, she can't feed in the rapids, get her. And they said, well, we're in kayaks, and I said, get her, I don't care how you get her. And grandmother, they hiked down there. They hiked in one day, and the daughter brought her out. She was just very emaciated and young.
And that cold water doesn't bother her.
She's a nope.
Actually, the water keeps them warmer because if the water is unfrozen, the water temperature is warmer than the air temperature, and their feet are their thermoregulators. So if they can get their feet into unfrozen water, it actually helps warm up their whole body. So believe it or not, it looks like that would make them colder, but it doesn't. We have 2 tundra swans. There's one at the Youngwood Center right now that's a mature tundra. These are the first swans we've had in, but these birds are normally spending their summers in the Arctic or in northern Canada somewhere, and they're migrating through right now on their way to the coast. And for whatever reason, these guys had come down and ended up in our care. The one that we have, we believe, was shot.
The pink tub there looks like she's some kind of a mixed drink with the ice in it.
Funny story about the 2 swans. You know, that's what we do with the animals when we affix them. Well, both of the swans are ready to go, but we just can't open the door and let them go here. They need to be taken to the Chesapeake Bay where they are overwintering. So there's a drive to Delaware involved in the release of these 2 swans.
Our flight pen that usually is designated for the care of raptors that are ready to be conditioned prior to release. And this is the largest, most elaborate pen that we've had built for us thus far. Very, very important for the work that we do with birds of prey. We were extremely fortunate that this pen was built for us at no charge by Operation Outward Reach, which is a group of folks who are in the final stages of incarceration and are working towards getting job skills. And this group, Outward Reach, brings their guys in here, and they do work for organizations like ours for free. So this was built for us at no cost other than materials.
Yes, we had to buy the
They did-
materials, and
they
they
did a good
provided
job,
all
too.
the, yes,
Did
they
a wonderful
provided all the labor on it.
You want to go in, John?
Yeah.
We're hoping in the spring to build another, because in the past year since we've had it, it's rarely been empty. It's usually had a waiting list of birds of prey to get in it.
How many birds do you put in there at one time?
You can mix certain species. You can like put say 2 of one together, but you may be able to put a male and a female, or certain what is it, the great horned owl with the red-tailed
Right.
hawk,
We
but
might
never the red tail with the sharp-shinned hawk. There's certain species that you can mix. Fortunately, we have not had to mix them yet.
Usually I
You can
cup my
come
hand
right
around
in
there
here.
and blow on the fixtures, and they...
Try not to get in my painted walls too much. This is what red tails do to your walls. That's a little screech owl. We assume that they are hunting small rodents along the side of the road, and they go in for the kill, and a car comes, and they're not thinking about the car. So he has a fractured humerus that is healed very well, and with one more x-ray, hopefully he'll be released very shortly.
Okay, Cindy, what do you do with an animal that comes into you and there's no hope for it?
We euthanize that animal. We believe that it is wrong to keep wild animals in cages or keep wild animals as pets. And many times their injuries may not be life-threatening, but they do make that animal unable to hunt or unable to fly. And that's the time that we do euthanize that animal.
Well, that sounds humane too, also, to keep an animal that's not going to be in the wild. Just common sense, really, is all it is.
Exactly. They're deprived of their freedom. They're deprived of mating. They're deprived of their whole life. There's a little saying that I like to say is when you take the wild away, you take the life away, because they are wildlife.
Yeah, they are. And Cindy, thank you so much for your explanation, and hopefully
for coming.
we can get some people interested in your organization and to help you with donations and stuff.
That would be great, and the animals would appreciate it.
This is Rascal, our educational screech owl. Rascal is a mature eastern screech owl, a rufous-faced screechy. We do have the gray face here in Pennsylvania. They're the same species, and they do interbreed, but they come in two different color phases. Now, I say he when I talk about Rascal, but I honestly do not know what gender this bird is, because in birds of prey, there are no external differences in the species other than size, with the exception of the American kestrel. But reverse sexual dimorphism is a term that means the female is larger than the male in the birds of prey species that we have here locally. And this bird here is a very, very small screech owl, so we are assuming that it's a male, but we don't know that for sure. We also don't know how old Rascal is, because these birds can live 10 or 12 years in the wild, and we do know he's mature because of the striations on the breast feathers, but other than that, we only know that Rascal's at least 4 years old because we've had Rascal that long. He was hit by a car in Ligonier, which is very, very common for screech owls in particular, but all birds of prey seem to have a problem with this. They fly down on the blacktop to catch the rodents, especially the owls, because the blacktop holds the heat at night, draws the animals out onto the warm tarmac, and these guys fly down to get them and impact with cars. So he received a broken wing, which did not heal in proper alignment, and it makes him unreleasable back into the wild. Because he's got such a great temperament, we applied for and received the special permits from both the state and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to allow us to keep this animal for educational purposes. So we take Rascal out to schools, scout groups, etc., and we hope that by bringing an animal like this up close and personal to members of the public, it will make an impact on them that will maybe cause them to think a little bit more about the fact that we're very fortunate to have these creatures as our wild neighbors.
Peter Maltese, and welcome to another segment of Pete's Corner. Today we're at Arrowhead, PA, at a wildlife habitat. Wildlife, Cindy? Let's do that again. Indian Head. Hi, I'm Peter Maltese, and welcome to another segment of Pete's Corner. Today we're at Arrowhead, PA, in
Fayette County.
Hi, I'm Peter Maltese, and welcome to another segment of Pete's Corner. Today we're somewhere in the Laurel Mountains, and we're at a wildlife rehabilitation center. We're going to take a look at what to do with animals that are hurt, and to tell us a little bit more about it is Cindy Cook. Cindy, nice to meet you. All right, Cindy, it's all yours now. You